Today I'm going to be looking at this Pioneer. This is a model D1720C. This is not a new model from Pioneer by any means. It has been around for several years. The D series in the TSD is their middle of the road. This is not their Pro PRS series. It's not their A series, such as like stuff that starts with the prefix like TSA 6965R, which is for their full range, two-way coaxial, three-way, four-way speaker line. This is their middle of the road. So the middle of the road is kind of budget conscious, but decent amount of quality, not over the top. That's going to put you into the Pro series and Pioneer. They are a little different. As Pioneer, they might keep the model numbers the same over the years, but they do make modifications and changes. They don't make a big fuss about it, but however, to someone like me, I do take notice, and I'm going to show you what I've noticed for this year, which is currently 2014. The first noteworthy change that I'd like to actually say a good kudos word for Pioneer is in the respect of their peak and RMS ratings. They're actually becoming more realistic. Unlike the stuff that they show in the TSA series, which I'll show you just as a quick overview if you're not overly familiar and had experience over the years using Pioneer speakers. I have a pair of TSA speakers right here, and you see that these here are the TSA series, which is their entry level. Now if you look on the top right here, you're going to see what happens. This is 6x9 3-ways, 400 watts max. Okay, now these speakers in all reality are basically 45 watts RMS, so 400 watts is a stretch. I think that this is just a really bad marketing tactic, and I've always hated that about Pioneer over the years, and it usually gets worse when you go with the lower end product. The lies become more and more greater and substantial, which that's always bothered me. Now it's nice to see that in this case it's not quite as bad. They're stating that the speakers are actually more in a realistic range, and in this case it's 60 watts. Now again, I'm going to agree with saying 60 watts RMS for this set of component speakers, however, only when used with a clean power source. As a real amplifier tuned properly, this speaker system will do and reproduce 60 watts RMS. I don't talk about peak ratings, I never have and I never will, so don't even ask me. However, for 60 watt range and in the price range for the speaker set, which is in the low 100s, I've even seen these things on our site as low as 99 bucks on sale to around 130 bucks. So again, very low aggressive price. Now look at the components of the speaker. This one here is a 6 3/4 inch. However, in my opinion, any car like a Honda or something like that, or Toyota with a 6.5 inch hole, I think that these will fit just fine. They always have for me, and I think that they would for most folks. Just to show you, the actual cutout hole size you have is about 5.5. How Pioneer gets 6 3/4 is like really stretching it. It's literally from this line right here to here, which is an odd way to measure a speaker. I've never done it that way. However, that's how they do it. Now the composition of the cone, you can see it's nice and stiff. It's very rigid. I mean, it's like a wannabe looking Kevlar type of composition. They call it a dual layer IMX Aramid, whatever that means, Basalt fiber composite. So it's basically a fiber composite layer type of cone. You can see that there's no woven leads, and the tinsel leads aren't kind of like, you know, rolling inside there. It's not all that high tech or anything. It's pretty straightforward, very standardized speaker design, engineering and manufacturing. You can see that, you know, looks pretty typical of what you'd find coming from China these days. The magnet structure is decent, 4 ohms. Again, 60 watts nominal power, which is great, but it is a decent sized speaker. It's got a decent sized set of magnet. I like this little cone that they got going on in the middle. I like the tabs. Some other things I really like about them is that they give you the option to use this as a template to put it right into a Ford for a 5x7/6x8 size right out the box. Beautiful. Another problem with most vehicles, especially with door motors and other obstructions, that they give you a little spacer. This will give you just about a 1/2 inch more of clearance, so you could take this, set your speaker in like so, and get that extra little bit of room that you need. From without the spacer, you have 2.5 inches in depth, by the way. So the mid-range is good. It sounds very clean, especially when used with clean amplified power. That has a lot of good mid-bass, especially for the price point. Crossover networks, nothing too crazy. Size is nice because it's small. You have your dedicated one amplified input, so it's not a bi-amplifiable type of system. One audio input for here, one dedicated output for your woofer. There's no dip switches or controls for that. However, on your tweeter, you can leave it flat, or you can bring it down -3 decibels for your tweeter output. So you have these 2 holes here for mounting options. You can either use a gigantic wire tie, 2 screws, whatever you're going to do with that. And that's pretty much it. But the size is small, it's nice. Your tweeter. Tweeter, they have a soft dome. They call these soft domes. They don't give you a whole lot of information other than soft dome. Now, they are good looking speakers. They do look very classy. They're a little bit large for my taste. However, they're not a silk tweeter. They look like silk tweeters. If you were to take one quick look at it, I would say, yeah, that's a silk tweeter, but it's not. And it's not a titanium tweeter, so it's not going to give you that really awesome, smashing, high, brash, amazing, you know, ear-piercing high, but it's a nice mixture in between the 2 of them, and they really do sound well, especially for the given price point. Again, mounting options, you can do a surface mount, which you have this little cup right here, which is a little bit ugly in my opinion. Typical way to run your wire, 2 holes right there for mounting. Kind of cumbersome, not the greatest option in my opinion. The design, I should say anyway. Another surface mounting option is here. Or of course what you could do is you could flush mount that, and that's exactly what I would do with these speakers. If not putting them behind a factory stock location, that would be the best option, so that way you don't have to see the thing at all. That would be the best. Aside from that, nice grills, very stylish with the times. They look almost like a new Mustang type of look. Got a retro kind of classy macho look. I like them. Also, you could paint these and make them match your interior. Just do away with them if you just use them in a factory location, but they're nice. And over here, typical hardware for screws, speed clips. These here are the mounts for if you want to do a pressure fit for your tweeters, or flush mount them, or surface, of course. Speed clips, screws right here, and some other miscellaneous screws I guess you would use for the 6x8s. And that's pretty much it. I mean, they're great. I mean, if you're going to put these in with your tweeter, I wouldn't recommend having this any further than 2 feet away from the mid-range. Otherwise, you're going to lose the component's speaker system feeling, and you're going to lose a lot of the staging. Best way for these things to perform is to have this up ear level, not directly at your ear, but a little off axis, and I think these things will please the masses. So that's my look on the TSD 1720C by Pioneer.